My name is Stevie Nii-Adu Mensah. I am also called Mensahighlife. I am a writer, a composer, a producer, and a choreographer. Mainly what I do is I teach, and I use my creative forces in the teaching that I do. And the thing that I really am passionate about is inspiring the youth through literature and through music, mainly. I grew up in Sweden. I spent my first years in Sweden. Both of my parents were creatives, so I traveled a lot as a young boy. I saw Africa, I saw Europe, and early on I fell in love with Africa, and specifically Ghana. So I've always had a strong connection with my country, Ghana, and a lot of the stories that I write, they come from the motherland. And what I do is I really try to fuse the European life with the African life in my art. Today at Etnografiska museet, I will be reading from my short story, my debut short story, Oktober, which is a story about two girls in Accra, Amma and Euphoria. And Amma is being bullied because she has strands of gray in her hair. Her best friend, Euphoria, who she's known for 6 years, she's always by her side. But as they start class 3, Euphoria gets new friends, and they like Euphoria, but they don't like Amma, and they tease Amma. So Euphoria is in between Amma and her new friends. And it's a correlation between bullying and weather change, climate change. So what happens is when Euphoria adopts the negative language that her new friends are saying to Amma, she as well, she starts to say it like regularly. And anytime she says it personally to Amma, the weather starts getting cold. So today I will be reading from the book, and since I grew up very musically in my household, and my mother was a traditional dancer, my father was a master drummer, I've always had the music that has fused everything else I've done. So the writing and the dancing. So it was a baseline that I had in my head that kind of like created the whole story. It started from that. So I have my I call it my music box. It's a production instrument. It's also a keyboard. So I use it every time I read to create the atmosphere of the story that I'm telling. So I'll be doing that and reading Oktober in a new kind of way of reading literature. I think it's very important that stories like Oktober is published in Sweden, because there's a lot of negative stereotypes about Africa. Even though the technology is becoming better and better, it is like people have so much access to so many things. So if the right information doesn't come through social networks, it will be very hard for it to come through post-social networks, because it is there's so much information, and people it cannot access everything. So I feel like I have to work as a moderator to tell these stories that I know and that I see every day, and also bring awareness to what is happening in the world. Bullying is something that's always been there. Climate is something that's been here from day one, but right now it is very, very, very urgent to act on how we are, treating Earth. So I wanted to bring these two things together. So when I go out to schools, both in Ghana and in Sweden, I bring this knowledge which will get, you know, the children and even, you know, the adults to have awareness about different things, and they will, you know, go to YouTube or Google and search for more information about these things that are in the book. I mean, seeing traditional drums from Africa and Ghana around in Sweden and here in the, you know, in the museum makes me very, very happy and proud, because that is telling that it has gone international, you know, the culture, and that is the awareness that we need, because people get, you know, different understandings about, you know, different places, and especially Africa, and this is very, very needed for people to get a different, you know, perspective on Africa and what the story has been and what the story now is. So I think it is very good that we start, you know, integrating, you know, traditional culture, even modern African culture, into Europe, into Sweden. I think what the museum can do is to really integrate with schools, because it all starts from the root, and the root is the youth. So once you are a child and you get these stories, when you grow up with consciousness about other places, other continents, and that is very important. You know, sometimes it can be very hard to get adults to change their ways or to, you know, act in different ways, because, you know, a lot of adults, they will say that, you know, oh, I already know everything. But when you are youth, you are searching for knowledge and new knowledge. So I think it's very important to start there. I mean, even from kindergarten, to start there with having small children go to libraries, Etnografiska, museums, and really get the understanding of, okay, so everything that we see in the paper is not the gospel, the truth. You know, there are other perspectives and of knowledge. So I really think it's important that, you know, museums as Etnografiska gets acquainted with, you know, the school system and, you know, kindergarten.